Welcome to video lecture 9 for subject English, class 4. Your English teacher Naushin Mirza here from Divisional Public School, Model Town, Lahore. Let's do Unit 17, The Story Spirits, an old Korean tale that has been retold from your Oxford Reading Circle book that is beside you. Let's see the contents of today's lecture. First of all, there are instructions for you. Then I'll explain main points of the text of the lesson, that is Unit 17. Then I'll explain it to you. There is an explanation. Then I'll give you some tips for the dictation. Then we'll do words meanings of the difficult words of the lesson. And last of all, we'll do words and tenses as well. The instructions for today's lecture are: you have to be ready for the lecture. Then you have to sit with full concentration and make sure you have your books, notebooks and stationery items with you. And last of all, you have to be supervised by your elders or your parents. Now students, take out Unit 17. The title of this unit is The Story Spirits. Spirits means ruhein. Story means kahani. So the title tells us that this story is about the story of spirits. Ruhon ki kahani. It is an old Korean tale that has been retold by the author, and it is very exciting, thrilling and interesting story. It is about good and bad spirits, and hope you will enjoy this story very well. So here is the page, the story spirits. As you have already read in your vacations, the story spirits. I'll explain the main points of the story here. I'll read it for you. Once upon a time, there was a rich merchant in Korea. एक दफा का जिक्र है, बहुत साल पहले. There was a rich merchant in Korea. कोरिया में एक अमीर ताजर रहता था. He had a son who was fond of fairy stories. उसका एक बेटा था जो कि परियों की कहानियां सुनने का बहुत शौकीन था. The merchant was a busy man. ताजर बहुत मसरूफ आदमी था. He did not have time to read stories to the boy, so he instructed his servant to do so. उसके पास बिल्कुल टाइम नहीं था, इसलिए उसने अपने एक नौकर से कहा कि हुक्म दिया उसको कि लड़के को कहानी हर रोज सुनानी. Every evening, a servant would sit by his bed and tell him exciting stories. The stories were about fierce, fiery dragons, fearful animals, good and wicked fairies, and damsel in distress being rescued by heroes. Damsel means a girl or young unmarried woman. तो सर्वेंट क्या कहानियां सुनाता था उसको? वो उसको कहानियां सुनाता था बहुत खौफनाक और खतरनाक आग फेंकने वाले ड्रैगन्स की, खतरनाक जानवरों की, अच्छी और बुरी परियों की, और ऐसी लड़कियों की जो कि परेशानी में हैं और हीरोज उनको बचाते हैं. So on page 130, the main points are here. In boy's room, there was an old leather bag. It was not an ordinary bag, for it was a bag of stories. The bag had a tight string around its neck. Every evening, as the stories were told, the spirits from the stories flew into this wonderful bag. Wonderful means Shandar. They remained there until the boy himself told the same stories to someone else. So, लड़के के कमरे में एक पुराना चमड़े का बस्ता पड़ा था. वो कोई आम बैग नहीं था. It was not an ordinary bag, for it was a bag of stories. और उस बैग के नेक पर एक बहुत टाइट धागे से एक गिरा लगी हुई थी, वो बंधा हुआ था. और हर शाम जब उसको स्टोरीज कहानियां सुनाई जाती थी तो उन कहानियों की रूहें उसमें उस बैग में उड़कर चली जाती थी और वो वहीं रहती थी जब तक कि वो लड़का वही कहानी किसी और को नहीं सुना देता. So after some years, the leather bag was bulging with story spirits. तो कुछ अरसे बाद जो चमड़े का बैग था वो bulging with story spirits, वो उसमें उभार आ गया. It is curving outside because it is full of story spirits, right? The young boy was selfish. Selfish means thinking only of one's own interest, खुदगर्ज. तो जवान लड़का खुदगर्ज था. He loved listening stories, but never told them to anyone. उसको कहानियां सुनना तो बहुत अच्छा लगता था, लेकिन वो किसी को भी नहीं वो कहानी आगे बताता था ना सुनाता था. Let's see what happened next. So the good spirits and bad spirits were squashed together and became unhappy. तो क्या हुआ कि जो गुड स्पिरिट्स थी, अच्छी रूहें थी, और बैड स्पिरिट्स थी और बुरी रूहें थी, were squashed together. Squashed means squeeze, crushed. Together आपस में. तो वो आपस में जो बुरी रूहें और अच्छी रूहें थी वो दब गई and became unhappy और नाखुश हो गई. Okay, on page number 131 and 32, the main points are here. The suffocated, good or bad spirits were planning to get rid of the selfish man. तो अच्छी और बुरी रूहों ने सोचा, क्योंकि वो बहुत घुटी हुई थी, दबी हुई थी, तो उन्होंने एक प्लान बनाया कि इस खुदगर्ज आदमी से जान छुड़ाते हैं. They decided to choke his throat while drinking water or eating strawberries. Some spirits decided to burn him with a red hot poker under the sack. The bad spirits asked their cousin to hide under the mat and bite him during ceremony. तो उन्होंने सोचा कि इसकी गर्दन दबा देंगे जब वो पानी पी रहा होगा या स्ट्रॉबेरीज खा रहा होगा. और कुछ रूहों ने सोचा कि उसको बोरी के नीचे से रेड हॉट पॉकर के साथ जला देंगे. The bad spirits asked their cousin to hide under the mat and bite him during ceremony. तो जो बुरी रूहें थीं, they laughed aloud और उन्होंने अपने कजन को बोला कि तुम मैट के नीचे छुप जाना और जब वेडिंग सेरेमनी हो रही होगी तुम इसको काट देना. Now let's see what happened next. It's quite thrilling here. So the main points on page 133, 34 and 35 are: the whole conversation was overheard by the old faithful servant. And the old faithful servant was horrified to hear all that. He decided to save his young master, so he begged to lead the young man's horse. The servant forbade him to stop anywhere on the way. He did not let him drink water or eat strawberries. When the bridegroom was dismounting means utarna, near the rice husk, the servant grabbed the sack and pulled it away. अब गुड और बैड स्पिरिट्स की बातें एक ओल्ड फेथफुल सर्वेंट सुन रहा था. वो बहुत डर गया उनकी बातें सुनकर और उसने डिसाइड किया कि वो तो अपने यंग मास्टर को बचाएगा. सो उसने इल्तिजा की. बेग्ड मीन्स इल्तिजा. सो ही बेग्ड हिज मास्टर टू लीड द यंग मैन्स हॉर्स, कि वो उसके घोड़े को लीड करने की उसको इजाजत दे दे. और रास्ते में when they are going to bride's house, so there was a custom in the Korean culture that the bridegroom has to go in the procession of bride's house. तो सर्वेंट ने, नौकर ने उसको हर जगह रुकने से मना कर दिया. उसको पानी भी नहीं पीने दिया और ना ही स्ट्रॉबेरीज खाने दिया. तो जब ब्राइड ग्रूम दूल्हा जो है वो उतरने लगा घोड़े से राइस नियर द राइस हस्क, तो सर्वेंट ने क्या किया? उसने बोरी उठाई और नीचे फेंक दी, as you can see in the picture as well, right? So what happened next? When the bridegroom was putting his foot on the carpet, जो ही दूल्हे ने कालीन पर अपना पांव रखा, the servant pushed him out of the way. तो नौकर ने उसको धक्का मार के पीछे कर दिया. He pulled out his sword. Sword means तलवार. उसने अपनी तलवार निकाली. Lifted the carpet. कालीन उठाया and dust flew into the air. तो क्या हुआ? साथ ही हवा में मट्टी आ गई. And he chopped the snake. और उसने जो स्नेक था उसको मार दिया, उसको काट दिया. Now what happened? The servant saved his master and told him the whole story. इस पर नौकर ने अपनी सारी कहानी जो हो रहा था, जो सुन रहा था, वो उसने सारी कहानी अपने मालिक को बता दी. So the merchant's son learned a lesson. इस पर जो ताजर का बेटा था उसको सबक हासिल हुआ और उसने कहा कि अब वो ऐसा नहीं करेगा. And he told all the stories to his children every night, and all the story spirits were set free. तो उसने सारी कहानियां अपने बच्चों को हर रात सुनाई और इस तरह जितनी भी imprisoned, कैद हुई हुई स्टोरी स्पिरिट्स थी वो सब आजाद हो गईं. Hope you have enjoyed this story. It is a very interesting story. So dear students, we have discussed the main points of the story and I explained it to you thoroughly. Now I'll discuss the preparation for dictation with you. The whole lesson is to be prepared for dictation. The students must learn the spellings of all the different difficult words of the story, they should do practice of all paragraphs. They should also ask their supervisors to take dictation of random paragraphs. Dear students, let's do words meaning of this story. I'll tell you the meanings of the difficult words. The first one is merchant. In English, it means a trader. In Urdu, it means tajar. Number two is damsel. Damsel means a young unmarried woman. एक खूबसूरत लड़की जिसकी शादी नहीं हुई. Number three is selfish. Selfish means thinking only of one's own interest. In Urdu, it means khudgarz. Fourth one is squashed. Squashed means squeezed or crushed. In Urdu, it means dabana ya dab jana. Number five is dismount. It means to get down from a horse. In Urdu, it means घोड़े से उतरना. You have to write all the words meanings in your neat notebooks and learn them by heart. Let's do word sentences. Here is the first word, merchant. There was a rich merchant in our village. हमारे गांव में एक अमीर ताजर रहता था. Second one is damsel. I read a story about a damsel in distress. Right? Selfish. Selfish means खुदगर्ज. Umar is a selfish boy. Umar एक खुदगर्ज लड़का है. Next is squashed. She squashed the watermelon. Means she squeezes the watermelon. Right? Next is dismount. The merchant dismounted from his horse. ताजर अपने घोड़े से नीचे उतरा. Dear students, you have to write all these word sentences in your notebooks, and I want you to make some other sentences as well for these words. I always encourage my students to make sentences on their own. These are the sample sentences for you. You can make sentences on your own. It is very interesting activity. The home task for today's lecture is learn and write all the work on your notebooks. Dear students, if you have any questions or any queries, do inbox me or comment in the comment box. I am here to help you, to guide you. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe. Allah Hafiz.